What is up guys, Deadset here. The shining star of Season 2 is the revamped monk. Armed with a new toy, the Gundam Gear Bracers, the martial artist storms the leaderboards. Let me show you why. The basic strategy is to seek out massive groups of enemies, apply Exploding Palm on the weakest among them and start dropping Wave of Light on the affected target, killing it as quickly as possible and triggering a massive chain reaction through Gundam Gear. Your Epiphany cooldown is used for multiple purposes: the Desert Shroud damage reduction, allowing you to stick to a target, as well as for resource regeneration in this spirit-hungry setup. Other tools to maintain your spirit will also be necessary. Mystic Ally should be activated as an instant refill when you're nearly depleted, while Sweeping Wind with Inner Storm should be constantly refreshed for both resource regeneration and Taeguk stacks. A powerful mobility tool is found in Dashing Strike, which you can use for both offensive and defensive purposes. This is the build I use in the demonstration. The direct damage dealer of choice is the Spirit-intensive Wave of Light. This hard-hitting spender is among the skills benefiting from the revamped Sun Wukong set, multiplying the already sizable damage by 6. The preferred rune is the lightning-oriented Pillar of the Ancients. While weaker on the upfront burst, over a 3-second period it ramps up to the highest damage output of all 5 runes, making it the optimal choice for the prolonged fights in Greater Rifts. The true powerhouse of the build, however, is hidden in the signature monk ability Exploding Palm. Spreading like the plague with Gundam Gear's unique property and further multiplied by the revamped Sun Wukong set bonus, the already horrifying 6300% weapon damage of the cold rune Impending Doom will allow you to clear entire packs of enemies the instant you destroy a single marked target. Notice that Impending Doom changes the skill to not apply the base dot of Exploding Palm, thus requiring that you kill the afflicted enemy with your spender, Wave of Light, within 9 seconds of applying the mark. In later Greater Rifts, this will mean that you have to weaken the target first before applying Exploding Palm. Both Exploding Palm and especially Wave of Light have significant spirit costs. A substantial part of your build and gearing choices will be focused on mitigating or recovering the spirit expenditures in this generatorless setup. A source of passive resource generation is found in Sweeping Wind. While it does negligible damage, it has a significant place on your skill bar. As long as you maintain the skill at 3 stacks through critical hits, you will also enjoy the 8 spirit per second of the Inner Storm rune. And with the cost significantly reduced by the Inner set, this skill also becomes infinitely spammable, and constantly refreshing it will stack up your Taeguk gem, without interfering with the stacks of the skill itself. With both a passive and active component, Mystic Ally will also aid your thirst for spirit through the Air Ally rune. Doubling the number of summons with the Crudest Boot's unique property, you increase the passive regeneration bonus to 8 per second and the active bonus to 200 per use. While the summons themselves will serve as a distraction at best, their spirit utility is invaluable. Epiphany rounds out the list of threefold value skills in this utility-packed build. It bolsters your mobility by allowing you to stick to your target, securing the kill and subsequent Exploding Palm procs. It increases your spirit regeneration by 20 per second, ensuring your wave spam remains uninterrupted. And last but not least, it strengthens your defenses with powerful 50% damage reduction while active. To solidify the mobility options, monks have the most responsive and fluid movement tool in the game, Dashing Strike. A charge-based skill on a low cooldown, it will take you to cursor location without fail, as long as there is no closed door between the starting point and the destination. With 2 charges stored by default, you can skip unfavorable fights, seek out the next pack, or simply boost your survivability through the Blinding Speed rune. This concludes the overview of the active skills. Now let us look through the passives. Beacon of Etar is a solid foundation for high skill uptime, providing a 20% chunk to your cooldown reduction. The sizable 60 and 30 second timers for Epiphany and Mystic Ally respectively are important enough to demand a high cooldown reduction goal. 2 pillars support the bulk of the monk defenses. The first, Harmony fuels your all resistance with 40% of the single elemental resistance per piece of gear. For example, 100 fire resistance roll on the boots will add 100 to your sheet fire resistance and add 40 to your other resists, while an even spread of the various resistances across gear will result in the highest sheet all resistance. Try to properly harmonize with the second defensive passive, Sixth Sense, stacking physical resistance whenever possible in an attempt to catch up to the 25% elemental mitigation provided by Sixth Sense will yield the best protective setup. Finally, the Unity passive will contribute to your damage with a nice 20% additive bonus. You will easily max out the capabilities of the passive with the trio of ally-oriented mantras originating from the inner set and the 2 mystic allies at your side counting towards the requirements. That about covers it for the build. Now let us go over the items. To achieve maximum effectiveness, the build uses the combined power of the Senwuko and Ina sets, complete with a Ring of Royal Grandeur, to attain the full set bonuses. A huge boon to this setup is Senwuko being a mere 4-piece set, leaving empty slots for additional synergy on the helm, bracers, and boots. As a general principle, always aim for single resistance in the secondary stats of items to get the most out of Harmony. While not possible on the shoulders and belt because of guaranteed all resist rolls, strive for it everywhere else. As previously mentioned, cooldown reduction is important for the Wave of Light Monk, and it is highly recommended to get it on both the Senwuko gloves, where it accompanies the crit stats, as well as on the Senwuko shoulder. The latter will also serve as a toughness slot, where high rolls of dexterity, vitality, and the guaranteed all resistance take priority. The desirable third piece of the Senwuko puzzle is the Senwuko amulet. With its newfound guaranteed socket, it is easier than ever to obtain a useful roll of double crit stats and lightning elemental damage. Senwuko itself will multiply the damage of your spenders by 6, as well as provide a highly lethal decoy of its own, making the set irreplaceable for a Wave of Light setup. The second set used in the setup is Ina, another 4-piece powerhouse of the monk. The 4-piece benefits are obvious: attaining the resistances from Mantra of Salvation, the life regeneration from Mantra of Healing, the damage reflection from Mantra of Retribution, and the debuff from Mantra of Conviction, without slotting any of them on your skill bar, is immense. The 3-piece bonus is very important as well. 2 spirit regeneration per second is an obvious and welcome addition, but what you should take notice of is the resource cost reduction of Sweeping Wind by 70 spirit. This makes the skill only cost 5 spirit, and devoting 33 points for exactly 6.6% resource cost reduction in your Paragon points, you will reduce the cost to 1 spirit point per cast, effectively making Sweeping Wind infinitely spammable. The 1 spirit spent is enough to keep your Taeguk legendary gem stacked, providing a sizable bonus of damage and armor. Rolls-wise, the inner pieces used, chest, belt, and pants, should be devoted to toughness. Naturally, to complete your set bonus, you'll have to use the Ring of Royal Grandeur. Obtained through Act 1 cash rewards, it will reduce the number of items needed for set bonuses by 1. Look for a Ring of Royal Grandeur with either a natural socket or a crit stat, so you can reroll into whichever of the 2 stats is missing. Your second ring needs to be a socketed unity for the unparalleled damage reduction when paired with another on the follower, plus an immortality item for him. The Season 2 exclusive Gungdo gear bracers are the newfound favorite toy of the Monk class, and deservedly finds a place in the Wave of Light hybrid. When an enemy dies under the effects of Exploding Palm, Gungdo spreads the Exploding Palm like wildfire to nearby enemies. The AoE potential of the spread, coupled with the self-sufficient percentage of impending doom, is enough to warrant seeking lightning elemental damage on the bracers. The goal is to supplement the damage of Wave of Light, your single target instrument, to trigger the initial explosion. The crudest boots make a natural fit for the resource demands of the build, doubling your Mystic Ally summons and thus increasing the effectiveness of Air Ally to 8 spirit per second and 200 spirit per activation. Notice that Wave of Light is a possible skill damage roll on the boots, so strive to get it as a 4th primary alongside toughness stats and shift movement speed bonuses entirely to Paragon points. As previously mentioned, cooldown reduction is in high demand, and no other helm does cooldown reduction better than Leoric's Crown. Essentially doubling the effect of the gem slotted in it, this helm can provide you with up to 25% cooldown reduction with a flawless Royal Diamond gem, while a Senwuko helm can be a temporary solution until you find a decently rolled Senwuko amulet. Resource management smooths out significantly with Leoric's Crown, which makes it mandatory for the endgame. Incense Torch of the Grand Temple is a weapon tailored for a Wave of Light monk, naturally rolling with unique properties that enhance the skill damage and reduce its restrictive costs. Stats like high weapon damage, additional damage percentage, and dexterity are universally desired. The remaining affix can be either devoted to vitality, freeing toughness demands from the helm and bracer for Wave of Light percentage and life regeneration respectively, or to the ever-helpful cooldown reduction. Your 3 jewelry sockets will be taken up by the legendary gems Bane of the Trapped, Taeguk, and Molten Wildebeest's Gizzard. Bane of the Trapped is a potent source of additional damage, as it is its own multiplier in your total damage calculation. Proccing itself with the level 25 additional property, this gem fits nicely in the melee range setup. Taeguk is the best hybrid of defense and offense among the legendary gem options, and spamming Sweeping Wind with the Ina 3-piece bonus makes it incredibly easy to keep the bonus stacked to its maximum. To make it even simpler to keep your Taeguk stacks up, you can use a popular keyboard trick. Bind Sweeping Wind to a number on the numpad. Press and hold the respective number and then press numlock. The game will start spamming Sweeping Wind on its own, keeping your Taeguk stacks as long as you do not hold down other buttons to interfere. Molten Wildebeest's Gizzard is a new, Season 2 exclusive legendary gem that increasingly grows in popularity for melee specs that traditionally struggle for sources of healing. It also synergizes nicely with the Mantra of Healing provided by the Ina set and with life regeneration on your gear, providing you with a more substantial shield through the level 25 gem property. In the Paragon points, max out movement speed and spend the rest on dexterity in the core section. Prioritize cooldown reduction and then crit damage and crit chance in the offense. All resistance, armor, and then life regeneration in defense. And resource cost reduction up to 6.6%, then area damage and life on hit in utility. And this is it for the Wave of Light monk build. I hope you enjoyed the guide, and if you did, I would appreciate your subscription to my channel. See me live at twitch.tv/thedeadset, talk to me on Twitter and Facebook that I linked below, and I'll see you guys next time.